Hey everybody, this is Andrew Lee. You already know me and you know my guest that's on right now. Today, we're just going to cut right to the chase. We're going to talk about something that needs to be talked about. Right now, the state of Medicare Supplement in 2025
hmm
is just a wild topic. Right, Christian? Would you agree? Christian Brindle's on with me today.
Oh, absolutely, brother. And thank you for having me, Andrew. It's always fun. We always have a great time, and we always talk about a lot of good topics. This is a doozy of a topic right now, because Med Supp is in the heat of things. And yeah, I mean, I can't remember a time in my career, this is my 11th year in the business, that I've seen Med Supp so volatile and so many different things going on. Probably the Medicare industry as a whole. I wouldn't even
Itself.
say just Med Supp, but yeah, that is definitely an accurate statement. Um, yeah, there's a ton going on right now.
Man, so this is why I mean, I had to get you on just so we can iron out everything, especially for the California audience. I know, again, guys, there's not so much shared information. I know how us Californians are. So we need this information out there, right? A big carrier, use your imagination. It's public by now, but a big carrier just pulled out of their PDP plans, and
hmm
it's not just going to be them. And it is still not just them, right? I mean, we've been sort of seeing this, and then the Medicare supplement world is changing fast. Okay, so what do you want to know about it and how this is all going to affect you, right? Because we're going to break this down if you want to know more about this at our California Insurance Agents Conference on the 21st of July. This esteemed gentleman that's on Zoom with me will be speaking about this. He is the Medicare professional, guys. If you guys don't know Christian Brindle's channel, his seven-figure agent Medicare group, if you don't know him, I mean, you guys know the dude knows his stuff, right? So please get in the room, network with people that know what's happening. This will affect your commissions.
Yeah, so basically the way it's going to go down, they just dropped it publicly today, but it was leaked to a couple groups yesterday. And more or less, the way it's going to work is any new sales on their PDP products, basically June 1st and on, are non-commissionable. Now, thankfully, what they're doing is they're going to honor any past commissions and they're going to keep paying renewals on any previous business. We saw basically pre-AEP last year in 2024 how there were several carriers, several national carriers just completely walked away from PDP commissions like that. And WellCare in particular, famously, infamously decided not to pay renewals or any commissions, right? Past, present, future, etc. Whereas like some carriers like Aetna on their SilverScript PDPs, they continued to pay renewals and everything like that. So they didn't get as much of the heat from agents. So I think that's the best way to do it. Like if for these carriers, let's first talk about why they're doing this, right? Like why are they cutting commission on PDP products? Point blank is because they're not making any money on these. Their
That's right.
margins are like, "Ugh," right?
End
And
of the day.
now they have a $2,000 max out of pocket cap they have to honor by law. All Medicare plans, Part D plans have to do that. But the Medicare Advantage plans have a lot more funding that they're receiving to be able to kind of, mitigate those risks and mitigate those losses. And so, but PDPs, man, it's a rough route. So, where we're probably going is, right now there's two national carriers that are still paying PDP commissions. Those are Cigna and Humana. Um, Cigna PDP commissions though are lower than the regular street level PDP commissions, so it's not a ton of commission there. Um, Long term, where we're going, I mean, it would shock me if in the next 12 months we don't have just across the board no PDP
No
commissions or no
PDP
plans.
commissions. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where we're going. And so, yeah, but when every time this happens, agents freak out. The sky is falling. It's this huge thing. And don't get me wrong, it sucks. It sucks to have commissions pulled and more products that you're not able to offer as an agent.
Right.
But I think it's for anybody that's been paying attention, it's not a big surprise with what's been going on in the PDP market.
Right. And the combo stack itself is getting weakened too, right? Because when people want to pair up a PDP with, that was the whole plan, all along, right? And then also if you had a dental or a hospital indemnity in there or something like that, it sort of messes it up, right? It messes up that umbrella coverage that you have promised them, right? So, I mean, what I've been advising my agents is just proactively contact your clients, obviously, before they call Medicare or a competitor and own the education aspect of it, right? Own their education so that they know what the heck is going on. What's sort of your advice on that?
Yeah, I think that's good advice, because I think if you're an agent and you're selling Medicare supplement products, right? Because that's what the PDP will go with. Um, and you're not willing to run a comp for somebody, you're not willing to do that legwork, um, somebody else is going to be willing to do that, and they'll do it as a value add for their Medicare supplement business. Because at the end of the day, right, the only reason why anybody would do PDPs, even when they were commissionable, because they weren't great commission, was because you wanted the Med Supp primarily, and then you take the PDP, on the side.
Right.
So like I would think the best thing to do as an agent, and what we're probably going to do, our stance is going to be, um, we'll continue to do it as, the comparisons and everything like that, and the recommendations as a value add to our Med Supp clients, and then, tell the clients they're going to have to self-enroll on whatever product ends up being the best one for them. But yeah, if you're not helping them with it, somebody else still will, even though there's no commission in it.
Right.
And the pushback on that agents are going to give is, we don't work for free. And you're very right. We do not work for free. That is a very true statement. But that being said, right, like there's a lot of things we do that we don't directly get compensated for.
That's right.
Like a good example to that is you're helping somebody, let's say new to Medicare. Let's say somebody's working, they're 67, they postpone their Medicare, and you're helping them get on Part B, right? There's a little bit of steps to that. Most agents are going to actually go through those steps and help their client get on Part B, even though they get paid for the Part B enrollment. I
Right.
would look at this as kind of the same thing.
Even
Um,
Medicaid.
yeah. Yeah. There's another great one, right? At low income subsidy applications, right? Um, so there's a lot of things that you do for your clients right now that you're not getting paid for. The best pathway forward is probably going to take that same approach on the
Right.
PDP business and just understand what it is.
I totally, so yeah, I'm happy we're going that direction just because, I mean, at the end of the day, yes, we do we're a for-profit business, right? At the end of the day, but clients come first. And these people were loyal to us for a long time. I mean, we're not going to do them dirty, right? So we definitely want to have a heart for them and do this, right? Now, because of all of this, now repositioning in the Med Supp market we need to talk about. Okay, so the challenge right now is like without the bundled options, without the us having control over everything. Again, that is now going to incentivize people to look into Medicare Advantage plans, or some clients will feel like their Medicare supplement plan now is incomplete, right? So that way, in that aspect, especially because they're getting marketed left and right, in that aspect, because one thing messed up, the other is starting to look a little bit better, right? So, I mean, our job is to re-educate the clients on what the stability is right now with their current plan, some of the flexibility that can happen, and then just education on, you know, like you said, just on how to make this work for them with the current climate. So, I mean, what are some advices you can give on that? I mean, there's gonna be we're gonna want to focus on, predictable benefits, and then, still their freedom to choose any doctors that they want. No network restrictions, obviously, because if you go to MAPD, that's gonna be the case. But
Mhm.
what's some advice to reposition the Mets up for them?
Yeah, I think when it comes down to selling Med Supp and I know we're going to talk about what's going on in Med Supp because there's a lot going on in there as well, right? We have the all-state thing that's going on and everything like that. But you know, Med Supp is still a very viable product, so you're going to run into situations in most parts of the country where you're still going to be able to sell it, or it's best thing for the client. Um, my advice to anybody that's still selling Med Supp and you're concerned about PDP, so number one, again, there's still a couple of carriers that are going to pay commissions. The trend is probably going to be that when they cut commissions off, I would expect the carriers that are left to pay renewal commissions. So I would try to do as many of the PDP applications as possible with the carriers you can still sell. Um, Again, if they're not what's best for the client and you're doing the client, you're doing the client dirty in a sense by putting them on those plans, then certainly you're going to direct them to a plan that's non-commissionable, right? But where it makes sense, you still want to do the apps that you can do. Now, once we get to the place where that I think we're going to be, where there's no commissionable PDPs left, you want to find ways to automate it as much as possible, right? You want to find ways to spend as little time on it as possible. This is where like a platform like our mutual friend Dalton Miller's platform at Retire Flow comes in handy, right? How do you waste as little time as possible collecting drug lists, running drug comps? Like for us, for example, right? This is a great reason to have a virtual assistant. We don't run any drug comps in our agency, zero. We have virtual assistants do it. And then they put them in the client's file, they notify the agent that it's there, and then it's ready to go when the agent runs that appointment. So, like, we don't spend time running drug comps for people. Like, it's already done because we have systems for that, right? We have infrastructure for that. Um, and I think having platforms like Retire Flow combined with a virtual assistant is a really good way to get around that. You just want to spend as little time as possible. You don't
Right.
want to waste a bunch of time on PDP business you're not getting compensated for it. You still want to do it, but how are the ways that you can do it as efficiently as possible and waste as little time on it as possible? That to me is going to become the key for this.
I agree. I mean, you got to master that standalone PDP mapping, right? It's just like you said, with automations, VAs, what have you. I mean, especially with, I mean, now that we're naming carriers, especially,
Didn't want to name the one from today. They frighten me.
but
The others not so much. I
I
feel a little
mean,
more comfortable with them.
exactly. And of course we have, the Sunfires and then the connectors and all that on our fingertips. But yes, if you want to go advanced and you want to have good systems in place, you use something like a Retire Flow. Shout out to Dalton Miller, not only a mutual friend, but a mutual speaker at our California Insurance Agents Conference. So we're gonna you understand why this conference is important. It's because we're gonna wrap this
Hmm.
information. Everything pertains to each other somehow. We're going to wrap this information in one big bow for you in one conference session so that you can understand the systems, make sure that you guys are implementing these systems, setting it up because one of the most important parts of your business is having a system, right? If you
Hmm.
don't have a good route, then check this out. We're scrambling when things like this happen, right? So that's a good shout out right there. Retire Flow will be at the California Insurance Agents Conference. Plugs
Let me
after plugs.
let me mention something about the conference real quick
Sure.
before we move on from it, right? Like, I don't know if you guys that are watching this fully understand the value that Andrew's bringing with this event. Like, what are you charging for tickets? It's so low. What is the
It's
tickets costing?
Yeah, it was half off for a while, right? And
Yeah.
$49. Now it's $97. But this is we have so much information, and for the people that have no idea who the speakers are or
Hmm.
haven't attended our events before, you guys just don't understand the magnitude of the information that these speakers have. I mean, these are top brass speakers. So I know that I'm saying this for myself, but guys, again, you know me, if you guys know me in a group, I'm not peddling. $97 is not anything to say
It's
I'm.
It's
gaining
nothing.
a
It's
profit for
nothing.
profit. This is for agents. This is so that information is spread so that this industry can become better, especially in a lonely state like California where we're sort of not plugged into everybody else and all the tech people in Texas and Florida and we don't have besides the NABIPs and all that and whatnot. We don't have a coalition unless you have and some of the FMOs here are very clicky, right? Some people just don't have this information. So, that was my goal is to just bring all of that together. Thank you for shouting it out, Christian. But this is my conviction. This is the reason why I even started the group, right? This is my conviction. I love my state. I love my city. I'm passionate about this. And I need you guys to have the best information possible. So 97 really is, I put it low because I want you guys there. I'm
Right,
just gonna be
right.
straight up with you guys. I want you guys there. I want you guys to learn and know and grow as agents so that we're not just like bumbling California people in our own little, we're participating nationally in something that's happening nationally. So that's my spiel on that. Thank you for bringing that up, Christian.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that because, for all the work that you're putting into this event, right? Like there's events with way less value that are provided that charge for $500, $1,000 for a ticket, right? Like so I just want you guys to understand that for a second that, you know, what Andrew's doing is really, really special. And some of the names he's put together is just I mean, all the names he's put together are just fantastic. You mentioned Dalton, right? Like Galen Hendricks is tremendous if you've never seen her speak. Eric Fierro, we've had him speak the first couple years at the summit, our
Yeah, and
conference.
Christian has a
He's
summit
always great.
himself. Yeah, his summit is gonna be in June. By the way, tickets are sold out, so sorry, I
Yeah, we're sold
apologize.
out.
Can't
Sorry,
go
guys.
there. You got to scalp them. But Christian has an event, and he can charge more than I can because it's established speakers. He has that's the top of the top brass nationally, because Christian does have those connections. So he has his own respective conference in Salt Lake City, which is one of the biggest conferences of the year. So again, this is more Cali centric, but Christian's conferences, he has the right to do that because he has mastered the conference space and has actual value that a lot of agents gravitate towards. So I just want to plug yours as well too. But just
Well,
sort of
thank you.
moving on here. So the annual reviews now have to be a lot stronger.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now, right? We have to
Dialed
spend,
in. Dialed in is how I would describe the process. It has to
yeah.
be. It's gonna
Yeah,
have to be.
right.
Otherwise, you're gonna get buried and you're gonna spend more time than ever on non-income producing activities.
That's right. Right. Just rewrites off of rewrites. Remember last AEP, guys? Mm-hmm. So again, just more touch points this time around, right? With the PDP subject. I mean, however you need to do it, if you need to do it through automation CRM, and we'll teach all of that at the conference, and Christian will too. And he also talks about this every day with Glenn Shelton, who is his partner, his business partner, on a podcast pretty much every day, right? So
Yeah, pretty
tune into
much.
that too. I mean, it seems like or it is every day, right? But essentially,
Yeah.
tune into those too, so you get different voices telling, you know what I mean? You get different opinions, and you're getting good information from different sources. And it'd be stupid to just listen to one person, right? It'd be stupid to just listen to me. It would be stupid to just, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but like just listen to a lot of people that have credibility, and then make your own decision making within your business. But don't get caught up in the fluff. But it would be it won't be beneficial to you just to listen to me. That's what I'm trying to say, right? So
Yeah.
expand your education as well too.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, and Christian, like, I mean, the game plan for me is, I'm going to teach agents to, of course, how to really dial in the PDP reviews during AEP, and then build out systems for like a Part D check-in. I mean, we already sort of talked about that in automations, and set the expectations with the clients that this will change yearly. The last 2 years are prime examples of that. What are you doing that you can give advice on top of that?
Yeah, so, you know, I always get pushback when I talk about this stuff, but there's a method to the madness, so I'll get to that a little bit. So, we have a tremendous retention rate when it comes to our book, right? So from 2024 to 2025, our entire book on the Medicare side of things, we're not factoring in ACA or anything like that, but our Medicare book, we had a 97.5% retention rate. Um, and I don't know any other agency our size that has that type of retention rate. And so our process is very intentional in terms of how we do it, right? So, like what we've done in the past with PDPs, and I'm sure it won't be too different this year, is we pay very close attention to PDPs that look like they're changing dramatically, right? When you have thousands of clients, you, at the end of the day, usually aren't going to be able to get to all of them. So, what do? You prioritize, right? Who's having the most pain points with their plan this year? So, with the PDP side of things, like I think about years where we've had PDPs that would be walked over, as they say, to other plans, and by as a result, their premium might double or triple or something like that. So we prioritize those people, right? Or if there's a PDP that's terminating, like last year, Mutual of Omaha pulled all of their PDP products, so all those people ended up losing their plans. So those people were a priority. So, we put together first a letter that's customized for these people, letting them know that we want to basically get in touch with them. We're going to be calling them. We might send it end of August, beginning of September. And then our team will put them on our list of people to call. And then early October, we'll be calling them. We'll also send emails. Every time we send a letter, we're also sending the same letter in an email as a blast to our clients. And then we'll be calling those people. But like, let's say we have a WellCare $0 premium PDP person and it's staying zero. We looked at the overall formulary. It's not changing too much. If someone calls us and wants us to review it, will we? Yes, absolutely. But is it a priority that we chase all those people down and review their plan? Probably not. What a lot of agents do wrong, in my opinion, is they send letters out to all their clients on PDPs and they say, it's time, it's open enrollment, and I have to check your PDP.
Yeah,
And by doing that, they're just going to do what you're telling them to do, right? Like they're going to comply. So they're going to reach back out, they're going to send you a drug list, and you're going to be doing tons of unnecessary drug checks for a plan that's barely changing, and for, Susie Senior that's taking omeprazole and levothyroxine and that's it. So like for us it's all about prioritizing, and we have a short list of clients as well that take a lot of prescriptions that,
right,
we do need to
right,
check
right.
them every single year. So that's usually how we do it. We're not telling them, hey, we absolutely have to review your plan blanket across everybody. We're prioritizing who fits into that. And historically, we're very dialed in, and we have all of those communications have gone out, or they're going to be going out automatically on October 1st, and then we start our phone calls. Um, and that's worked very well historically. We also send videos out of either me or someone else in the agency explaining things, and we'll do a 5-10 minute video explaining some kind of change, like an Inflation Reduction Act thing that took effect this year. Um, so we email blast those out. Emails are good, letters are good, videos are good. How are different ways you can communicate this information to people? Because everyone's different in terms of how they want to absorb it.
Right.
And so I think by hitting all those bases, I think you end up in a really good spot.
Yeah, I really like the video aspect of it. Even if you're not comfortable on camera, now you have AI to do those animations for you guys. There's really no excuse these days to not
Yep.
be on video, right? We're on video live just because Christian is the man on video, and and
Takes
I
one to
like
know one, my friend.
I like video. I like video now. I used to not like it. But as one of my mentors say, put out crop 1.0 and then put out crop 2.0, put out crop 3.0, and it starts turning into all right, 3 1.0, and then all of a sudden, here we are talking to Christian Brindle about something that needs to be talked about nationally, really, but I wanted to centralize it for California. So,
Yes.
if we're losing commissions on PDP now, right? We're seeing the dominoes topple, we're seeing it, okay? We're gonna have to now explore other options to get income, right? To replace what had been lost. So, my suggestion would be to explore bundling, right? In California, we do not have that much to bundle in terms of hospital indemnity. With cancer, there could be, some aspects to it. Reach out to me for that. I'm number two on cancer production for Manhattan Life. So I know a thing or two about that. So if you have
Let's
questions on
go.
that, reach out to me. My number is 323-844-8471. So just reach out to me if you have questions on the cancer aspect in California. Nationally, it's all right, right? Like Christian can do this all day, every day, right? We just can't in California.
Right.
And also dental, right? Unless they don't have teeth. Dental bundling, right? Fit that in. Now, again, the secrets of sort of bundling and cross-selling is, you got to get them when the buying temperature's high, but when the buying temperature's low, that follow-up call is like, oh, okay, hey, I was following back up with the hospital, and then what plan were we? They have no idea what you're talking about, right? But it's, oh, we talked about this before. It was like the hospital. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, I don't need that, right? So you have to position, but with dental, it's an easier topic. It's like, hey, did you have any more? I mean, as we get older, your teeth are getting older, right? Did you have
Hmm.
any situations with your dental that came across? Any root canals that needs to be done? Anything like that with all the changes that are happening, right? Sort of put that in my script for my agents with all the changes that are happening, right? So, of course, we need to, if you guys are really, really just having anguish over losing commissions, we have to replace it with that. Now, another good avenue is final expense. Christian, can you go deeper into that?
Yeah, yeah. And love everything you said about the dental products and the cross-sellings, everything. I mean, it's so important, it's so important in so many ways. But for final expense, guys, I don't know if there is another product line. And people might argue about it. Some might say annuities, some might say other products, things like that. But like I feel like it is a very important thing to diversify your book a little bit right now. Now, it doesn't mean you have to go off and go crazy, right? You don't have to go get your PNC license and be all over the place, but finding other lines of insurance that relates to what you're doing, right? And I think life heavily relates to what you're doing. And final expense is something that a lot of your clients are already buying. You could say that about any of the products Andrew mentioned too, by the way, like dental, by the way. We bought several books of businesses over the past couple of years, and one thing we noticed is the ones that didn't sell a lot of dental vision hearing to their clients, when we were going through and working with them and it's over time, interacting with the clients, a lot of them had them other places, and so like if you don't sell it to them, someone else will. And that is never truer than with life insurance, final expense, everything like that. The thing about insurance and final expense is you can't sell it on the same appointment with Medicare. With what Andrew's proficient at with ACA, you definitely can. So that's an even, more reason to kind of work it into your process with that too. But like with Medicare, you have to do it on two different appointments. But I think if you have a good sales process to where it's built into your scripting, and you're getting those 1-2 punch appointments, I think it can go extremely well with it. And yeah, I think final expense is hot right now. We did a podcast this morning on like which product lines are a buy, sell, or a hold if you were buying stock in where this product line is at today, right? And I said final expense was a buy, like a 9 out of 10 buy for me right now. So yeah, yeah. I mean, final expense is something that Medicare obviously doesn't cover burial costs, final expenses, anything like that. So it's something you can bring up almost as like you're trying to fill a hole in their coverage. Um, and you just have to be smart and strategic and, about how you're bringing it up. Like I said, you can't do it the same appointment, but, I would not end that first appointment until I had a second appointment to discuss that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. What would you say? Let's talk about future-proofing our business with all these changes now, right? The
Hmm.
changes are here, whatever. We have to adapt. This is what we do, right? This is a long game, guys. If you guys are here one day and trying to leave the next, what's the point of residuals? So, some of the, I mean, obviously, it's the talking trends are going to be get over to a Medicare Advantage plan. Let's take a look at that portion of it. Let's go do a side by side. I know you're not used to that kind of system, but let's take a look here. I mean, it's not like the Med Supp carriers themselves aren't as cheap as they or not cheap, but low cost as they used to be, or their premiums are raising themselves.
Yep.
Also carrier consolidating so that you can have everything all in one. Um, and of course, the realistic premium raises, right? With the PDPs. I mean, in our area, the Cigna's still, I mean, the ones that are still paying, agents, Cigna's in my areas, the low cost one, like $20 or so. And then it jumps up to 164 at Humana, right? It's like crazy.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like, can we have an in between? Like, can we? It's
That,
wild.
that's wild. That's
And,
crazy.
and it's like the same pricing for the medications, and the medications themselves are super
Yeah.
expensive. And then you'll have the people that are like, well, I take compound medications too. And then it's just wild out there, right? With medications, right? So again, just to future-proof your business, less white hairs and just adapting and, making sure you know what other people are doing that you're not doing yet. I mean, my advice personally would be to diversify your portfolio. I would say, just a little bit ACA here, bundling there
Yes.
with under 65. And well, I'm talking about California specifically, and a lot of people have, right? Like, I mean, I started off doing ACA when it's Medicare. Some people, a lot of Medicare agents went from Medicare or life insurance into the ACA. Hence why the fool's gold situation with the ACA and all that stuff happened because there was just all these agents coming in from different lines and it just sort of
The gold rush.
messed everything. Yeah, fool's gold rush, I call it. Sort of messed everything up. That's for another day though. But diversify your portfolio, please, guys, right? Diversify your portfolio. Don't be captive to just one Med Supp situation, not a carrier, but one Med Supp situation and one option, that you're just like, oh, this is my go-to. This is my go-to. It's not going to be the same, right? I mean, there's going to be rate increases and there's going to be whatever the carrier dictates the pricing to be. It is up to them ultimately. So, if you're just sort of just giving them one product, please don't do that. Please
Yeah.
diversify your portfolio, right? And then I'm training my agents to stay agile on this, to stay on top of this, and then whenever to just adjust quickly when this kind of news and carrier drops happen and things like that. But what are some things that you could do to future-proof your business, Christian, for the audience?
Yeah. I mean, so here's my thoughts on I've a two-part answer to this. So for one, if any of you out there are Med Supp purists, right? And I'm seeing a lot of you come out of the woodworks lately when these conversations are coming up. And I get every single
That's sigh.
excuse in the
That's
book,
sigh
you
for me.
know. I get every single excuse in the book why you can't sell Medicare Advantage. Medicare Advantage is this, Medicare Advantage is that. You know, Medicare Advantage companies are being investigated by the Department of Insurance. There's non-commissionable plans. Yeah, all of this is happening. There's a lot going on that side as well. But if you're just selling Med Supp, I would anticipate, this is my opinion, my crystal ball, that within the next 5 to 10 years, MedSup is very similar to like a long-term care type of product. Extremely niche,
Mm,
extremely niche.
mm,
And this is why. Everybody that I would consider the powers that be, carriers, the government, CMS, they want managed care. It's easier for them. Everybody. Carriers make more money. The government has less personal responsibility in managing that care of original Medicare. And so they're not going to let it fail, right? Too big to rig is what comes to mind
Big
when
to
it comes
big.
to
I like
Medicare
that.
Advantage. So like I would say the pendulum swings back and forth when it comes to trends, right? It's swung the other way right now, but it will swing back. And so, if you're not selling Medicare Advantage and you're a Med Supp purist, you're going to find yourself in a really tough position at some point. I don't know when. I don't think it's going to be now. I don't think it's going to be next year. I don't think it's even maybe going to be 2 or 3 years, but 5 years, 10 years. Um, we're going down the route of the vast majority of people will have managed care plans because it's what the government wants. It's what the carriers want. Um, I get pushback. Doctors aren't in my area. Doctors don't contract with Medicare Advantage plans. Well, what will happen is they'll either play ball or they'll go out of business. That's what's going to happen.
Or retire. I
Providers,
mean, a lot of people are retiring.
yeah, yeah. We've had trends in the Medicare space where providers wouldn't take original Medicare. They're trying to take a stand, because they don't like the fee schedule.
Right.
And what happened to those doctors? They either folded and did it, or they went out of business. I know providers in my area that went out of business 10, 15 years ago because they were trying to, take a stand. So it will happen. Advantage plans will keep expanding. They'll be in more rural areas that they might not be in now. Um, so make sure you're selling that. But in addition to that, like what Andrew was talking about a second ago, you want to diversify, right? You want to be doing ACA in your business. You probably want to be doing final expense in your business. Um, and then you want to be bundling as much as you can, right? Like in California, like Andrew said, so on some product lines, your access is limited to how many different types of products you have. But with what you have, make sure that you're bundling. It increases your retention. Andrew's talked about all of this a million times, and he's the master at it. But it increases your retention, it increases your revenue. It solves so many problems in your business. So that would be my advice for agents. If you're going to sell Medicare, be a Medicare specialist, not a Medicare supplement specialist, and make sure that you're bundling, cross selling, and you're diversifying your portfolio.
Love that. Love that. And I want to respect your time because I know you do have a busy schedule today. I know this. Um, so again, guys, at the California Insurance Agents Conference, we will be going over that. Christian's going to put on a master class for us here about this and also into Medicare Advantage as well too. I mean, the audience, man, we're going to have a pretty impressive audience as well too. So it's going to be a great networking event. It's going to be people you know and the people you don't know and the people you want to know, right? Especially the speakers. And we're pretty. These conferences have sort of got, well, at the very least, me to getting in front of the right people, getting in front of people like Christian I met at a conference, getting in front of people like Eric Fierro I met at a conference. I met you guys on the same day, funny enough, at the same conference.
Yeah.
Galen Hendricks I met at a conference, even though she was at the time sort of a distant mentor, I would say, but physically met at a conference. This is where we all meet up. I mean, there's only a certain amount of conference, and I understand that there is conference fatigue, but guys, this is a 1 day conference, guys. This is more like a master class kind of boot camp situation, right? So it's not gonna be the, oh man, I gotta, my flights. I mean, people are coming in from other states, and you guys, of course, but it's a 1 day event, guys. So just make sure that we're taking advantage of that 1 day because we're gonna have these speakers come out, which who normally don't, and bless us with what they know, right? So, Christian, anything that you want to just give a little bit of hint of what you'll be talking about at the conference?
Yes. Yeah. So, guys, I'm super excited about this event. If you don't have a ticket for it, it's so affordable. Andrew has been so gracious in terms of that. We've already covered that, but make sure to get a ticket out to this. It's going to be a really great event. It's the only other event I will be attending this year that's not one of our events.
True.
So I'm very excited to be there. I'm very excited to talk. Yeah, what I'm planning on talking about is, creating a Medicare enrollment machine for your agency, right?
Ooh.
So how can you
Hey.
how can you create a business that is like a machine. You're just bringing in enrollments left and right, left and right, left and right. And there's pillars to that, right? So you need your sales intact. You need your processes intact, your presentations intact. You need your marketing intact, right? You need your lead flow intact. You need your systems, your automations intact, right? So these are the things I'm going to be talking about. And I'm going to talk about how we've done that internally and how, we've built a multiple thousands of clients book a business. Um, and we have, as I mentioned earlier, humongous retention rate. And I never speak to anyone that's a client. I'm gonna go into all of that. How did we do that? How did we structure that? And how you can do the same thing.
That's awesome, man. I mean, I can't wait to hear you speak. I've heard you speak a million times. We talk all the time, but
Hmm.
the California audience has not. They just haven't, right? So very excited for the event. I mean, as a basketball fan, it's the mecca for us Laker fans. You guys know this, and it's gonna be right. So it's situated right at LA Live, and there's a little balcony that looks over the Grammy Museum right next to it is going to be, I mean, if you guys are in the LA area or California, you guys know this. But it's the hotel where I used to pick up tickets for Laker games, Barry's tickets. If you guys remember old school Laker guy people, that's the place where we used to go, grab a drink, pick up the tickets, and go in. And I'm like, whoa. Like this is so crazy, full circle on this here that I'm hosting a conference at this place now. And so it's overlooking also the crypto arena. You guys know how it goes. You could probably see Magic Johnson statue from our from where it's at. And there is gonna be a like a happy hour scenario. Maybe like 5 to 7, overlooking all of LA Live. So it's going to be a really, really good time. If you guys are coming in from out of state, reach out to me and then I'll give you some, some ideas on what to do. Maybe we can hang out. Of course, I'll be, entertaining our speakers, our guests, so I'll sort of be all over the place. But if you guys need some recommendations and things like that, of course, reach out to me. Christian, I appreciate you being on, brother. That was a wealth of knowledge. I know you can talk about this for hours. I could definitely talk about this for hours, and I wanted to talk about this for hours, but we just don't have time. So show up to the California Insurance Agents Conference. You are going to get the content that you want. Again, this is not fluff. I th this is sort of for the most part self-funded. Like let's just be real, right?
Yep.
And if I had some of my friends help me out, and so guys, this is a passion project. This is a movement. I keep saying that the California Insurance Agents Group is a movement, right? And it is because we have our NABIPs that did their thing. We have our Hoffa's, who is a pretty strong entity now. I really like what they're doing.
Yeah.
But this is just a conference for agents for actual information for the people who are lonely at their desk, just typing away every day and just writing apps and how to just network with other people and how to just become a better agent and just things that you do not know being solo, right? And if your upline isn't really helping out or whatever the case is, at the very least get information from somebody, right? So, Christian, any last words for the California people?
Yeah, guys, all I have to say to close out is make sure that you're at this event. Andrew has gone above and beyond making sure that this is going to be packed with value, tons of fun, and it's the event that you guys in California need. And it's something that is coming to you, right? It's in your backyard. So highly recommend that you get there. Appreciate you having me as always, my friend.
Of
It's
course,
always
brother.
fun. Um, and yeah, excited for the next one.
Bang, bang. All right, guys. I will see you guys at the next video. Please, please, please. I'm going to drop the link on the comment. Register before tickets sell out. We actually had an initial room. It was called the Figueroa room. Now we got the Olympic room. It's on Figueroa and Olympic. So we had to actually expand the room because we anticipated I mean, I anticipated less people. Maybe that's short-sighted on my end, but we grew. I mean, there's a lot of people that did actually buy the tickets, especially with the early bird. So now it's at $97. We have the whole room now. So we do now have a capacity, guys. And when we're sold out, just like how Christian's event is, we are sold out. We're not gonna we don't have space for you. We don't like the fire marshals are not going to allow this, right? So
Yep.
please get your tickets now before somebody else does. But Christian, always a good time spending time with you, brother, and that
You
was
as well.
awesome. So, guys, tune into the next one, and I'll see you guys at the conference. Peace.